Hey, y'all can't see that, can you? That is the thumbnail that I just stuck onto uh the YouTube channel's thumbnails. Facebook doesn't give me an option to put a thumbnail on the live. Hey everybody, Lester here. Folks, how you doing? Let me see if I can pull these socks up. I got these gifted. No, I don't really stretch as good as I used to get stretch. Uh I don't know if y'all reading it frontwards or backwards. If you can read this, bring me a Dr. Pepper. If you can read this, bring me a Dr. Pepper. And I got a gift bag actually from a very kind lady, Marion. Marion sent me a whole bunch of Dr. Pepper stuff, y'all, which is really sweet. Um, Dr. Pepper is going to be the end of me. You do know that Dr. Pepper will be the end of me. It was the doctor when I went last summer. He had given me two directives, and he was concerned a lot with, last summer. I tell you what, I just got sick of always feeling sick. I got sick of being sick. Nothing was really wrong with me, but I just felt bad, and I was getting tired of feeling bad. And so went in for all that blood work. I think that most of you guys remember this. This wasn't that long ago. And the two things that the doctor said for me to cut back on, well, obviously you want to cut back on any of the red meats and all that kind of stuff. But he also said, stop drinking so much whole milk, because I'm the kind of guy who likes whole milk. I like whole milk. I know I'm not a baby, but I'm just a guy who grew up and my mom always had milk in the house. And even today at my age, I like to drink a glass of cold whole milk. And so he said, cut back on that whole milk, man. He goes, just, you don't need it. You don't need it. Whole milk, y'all. You don't need it. So cut back on it. And he also said, and stop drinking those Dr. Peppers. So as it is, I cut back on all the red meat. I very seldom eat red meat. Lots of fish around here, lots of shrimp. As far as we eat white meats and things like that. I'm exercising and trying to take care of my body. But the one thing that I just cannot do, I can't stop drinking Dr. Pepper. I am an addict. And I will come here and I will look you right in the eye and I will say that, hi, I'm Lester Morrow and I have a problem. I'm addicted. So there you go. I'm addicted. I cannot stop drinking Dr. Pepper. And so I'm guessing that that will be the end of me. I have gone back to the doctor 4 times over the course of the year. I go every 3 months. And he runs more blood work. And a lot of you guys I'm not embarrassed about this. You do know that every 6 months I get the testosterone pellets. And it has really made a difference in the way how I feel and how I act. It has, and I don't mean in the bedroom necessarily, not necessarily, but it has had a lot of effects. Testosterone and I guess estrogen for women. And when your body gets a little bit older and you start changing, a lot of things change on the inside that you're not familiar with. And so that was one thing that we balanced everything out. And you're like, Lester, why are you telling us all your personal medical history? Lester, it's just you. But you know what? I don't really mind, because I think that I might have been in denial for a very long time. And if there's a man or even a woman who's around my age and your body's starting to change and feel differently, and you too are sick of being sick, then it might not be a bad idea to have some blood work done and find out what kind of things you can do that might not require medications or procedures, just things that you can do to change your life and better your life a little bit. The downfall to the testosterone is that my insurance will not pay for it. Believe it or not, as crazy as this sounds, my insurance requires my testosterone to be here. If my level is here, then fine, they'll pay for it. But if my level's here, they're not going to pay for it, even though a healthy man should have his testosterone here. And I'm like, I'm like, doc, if they know that having the testosterone level where mine's at is creating some issues, then why wouldn't the insurance pay for that? And obviously it's not enough of an issue. It should be something that I can, snap myself out of it or whatever. So it's funny the way medical insurance works. So no, I do have to save money, and I've made that one of my big bills. So every 6 months I save I think it's $800, and I have to go get the testosterone pellets, and I'll be getting those next Wednesday, just FYI. I don't know why you would want to know that. If anyone needs to know, but next Wednesday, I will be getting my testosterone pellets. And so I'll be good for the next 6 months. And the thing is, it's not like I can tell. I don't go to the doctor when I feel like I'm kind of feeling kind of soft and fragile. That's not why you go. I go every 3 months just because that's at my age. That's what you need to do. And he gives me a refill on my the meds that I take for the anxiety and the depression. And we also run blood work every 3 months. And but he always says it every time that he looks at my charts, and he goes, you ain't cut back on them Dr. Peppers, have you? I'm like, doc, I can't do it. I cannot do it. Would you rather me start smoking? Would you rather me smoke a cigarette maybe? Would that be what I need to do? Drink a lot more coffee? But no, so I do know that Dr. Pepper will be the end of me. But you know what? I will die happy. I will die a happy man. Trust me, I'm a doctor. And I want to show you something else. I'm going to have a hard time showing you this without making an entire disaster. I'm going to try to spin my entire camera around. Look what else I got. This is a little fridge. Look at that. It's a little Dr. Pepper fridge. Do y'all not see this? Is that the coolest thing or what? It's a Dr. Pepper fridge. It's a mini fridge. Are you off your call?
Yeah, is the guy in here?
Jamie is joining me. Not to join me. Boy, I'm a wreck, babe. I am a total wreck. I don't know why I'm wearing stuff. Jamie's been inside the bedroom trying to work. She does her Zoom, and she was in the room, so she didn't know that while she was gone, I dressed myself in socks and a new shirt, and I'm telling y'all all about my medical history.
You're 15 minutes into your life.
And I'm less than 15 minutes in, Jamie. I started late because I was trying to get a thumbnail of my socks to upload. Wow. And then I had to try to find a way to put my socks here in front of the camera so everyone could see. So yeah, thank you so much, Marion, for the Dr. Pepper gifts and goodies. And cheers to you all. Happy Friday. We're very excited, and we don't have a whole lot of time today because, we are starting a fencing project over at my niece Brienne's house. That would be Jake's sister. She also has a YouTube channel. She does Facebook as well, right?
Yeah.
Brienne does both Facebook and YouTube. Her page is called Life on Morrow Hill, and Brienne has a couple of goats. We right now those goats are over with our goats at Longhorn Lester's, but we do have plans to bring our goats back around sometime early mid-September once it cools off a little bit, and we will address the issue of their diet when they get back. I've made it a pledge of mine to go out and take them out several times a week for foraging because I have the time to do it, y'all. I've just been lazy. But when Brienne gets her goats back, she wants to have them a new pasture, a lot larger pasture. And so my dad was gracious enough to give her a little plot of land that she could raise her goats on. That will include good grass, good shade, and good foraging. And don't forget that goats need all three of those things, guys. They really do need to forage. Foraging, which means brush, shrubs, leaves, should make up a larger part of their diet than what grass and grains do. And that has been our downfall. That's something that we did not know because we've never researched exactly what goats need. And here we are raising goats most of my life and not knowing that. My dad, I don't think, knew that. And so it wasn't until we had goat health issues that we had the vet come out and where she shed the light on, Lester, your goats are in a pasture where there's nothing but grass. when, and where are they getting all these other things. And so it was an eye opener. And so in the pasture we're going to fence off for Brienne, we are going to make sure that her goats are able to get all of those things. And we're going to help her with that fence. We are expecting the McCoys, that's our lumber hardware company. They're on their way over here now. So when they get here, I'm hoping that I can get Jamie to go out there and show the guy where to set everything. He said 12:30. It's about 12:15 Central Time now. So we may have 15 minutes, or you may be sick and tired of me by then. You may be sick and tired of me and you've heard enough. And so you may say, you know what am I doing here wasting my lunch hearing about some man who needs testosterone and has an addiction to Dr. Pepper? There's better things you could be doing with your time. And I promise you, you probably could. But for those that stick around, I'm happy to have you here. I am blessed to have you here. There's been a few changes to my YouTube channel over at Longhorn Lester's, and I will say it's been mixed. It has been met with mixed reviews. So there for a while, I was getting an occasional comment on I was neglecting to show certain animals. And it's true. Sometimes you get started on a video and your time may be consumed with the goats or with the ostriches or with the longhorns, and you sometimes don't always remember to give equal time to all of your babies. So I took a suggestion from a fellow video creator who does chapters. He works with chapters, and he says, why don't you start working on chapters and consider the idea of making sure that in all of your videos you may have less of certain animals, but you're going to include all of them. And so I don't know if y'all have had a chance to see that. I did post one video on Facebook with my chapters, and then I've posted, I think, 2 times so far on YouTube using chapters. And I will say that it has been met with mixed reviews. So the people that like it are really enjoying the fact that they're able to see all of the different components that really make up Longhorn Lester's. I've tried to include a chapter on the ostriches, on the longhorns, on the goats, and a chapter with whatever job I'm doing that particular day. I'm calling it maintaining the land or working the land. And so they're able to see some of the projects that I'm doing and then how all the babies are doing. Jamie, will you get this? That's probably the driver for McCoy's. I'm going to have Jamie answer that for me. And I'm going to try to keep talking to y'all, but I'm totally not focused at all.
He's actually on a call right now.
So that is the driver. Let me tell Jamie where to take him real fast, and then I will be right. I'm not going to leave you.
Oh, the gate's closed right now?
I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to leave you.
Okay, wait, you're here to fix the door? Oh, you're at that place. Okay, sorry. We're waiting for a delivery at McCoy's other house. No, we are not there, but the gate code is 9.
Oh my gosh, that is an entirely different guy. That's an entirely different guy. Guys, it's hard. It's hard trying to, I want to do this. I want to do this, but my mind is over there on that over there. That's the guy to work on the gate.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. Huh?
The door.
Yeah, okay. That's the tip for the McCoy's driver. Okay, so I am back. So yeah, we have had some mixed reviews on everything with the chapters, but I like it, and so it won't be every video. I can't take time if I'm involved in a video and I'm talking about something important like a spirit or something, because we have spirits over there. And I'm talking about something that's important. I'm not going to cut a video short just to go make sure I include all the other components. But I will try for the most part to, I'm sorry, friends. I will try for the most part to allow you guys to make sure you keep it up with all the different components of everything going on. While I'm sitting here a little bit baffled and confused, I want to show you these. I would like to show you these. Now, these are wooden eggs. These are wooden eggs. And I'm going to have a really hard time explaining what I seem to understand about these wooden eggs. So here at I'm a Survivor, you guys know that we have a little bit of an issue with having an overpopulation of our feathered babies. We have too many feathered babies. We have way too many feathered babies. So Jamie's over there saying, it's not true. It's not true. And so, fine, we can agree to disagree on things. So what I've been doing, I don't really know what to do with the ones that we have here now. What do you do with the ones you have here now? We're not going to eat them. And we're not going to give them away to someone who's going to eat them. So fine. And if we find someone that wants to start up a little farm or wants to have more chickens or ducks, then I'll, by all means, if we know they're a good home, then we'll offer them to a good home for free. We're not going to sell our animals. We don't sell that. But what I have been doing is gathering eggs. Now we have a collection of eggs over here, but Jamie and I together, we don't go through probably a dozen eggs a week. Would you say more than a dozen? I don't think we eat a dozen eggs a week. Jamie has different recipes that she makes when she'll use an egg here or there. I don't really eat breakfast a lot. So
except for
Lex, when Lex is here, Lex goes through a lot of eggs. He likes hard-boiled eggs. And so when Lex is here, we go through more eggs. But I cannot keep up with all the eggs that we're having out there. And so if the eggs are gathered fresh, then by all means, I give them away. We've given eggs to the church, to the fire department. But if I find a batch of eggs, and our chickens can hide eggs really good. We have laying boxes, but they don't always use them. They end up going in my toolbox, or now that we have the hay, they go into the hay. It's like a game to them. So here's what I want to do. So first of all, for everyone who's saying, take your chickens, take your ducks, take some geese to Longhorn Lester's. We can't do that. Not yet. We have way too many predators that roam Longhorn Lester's. Predators that would kill and eat every one of our ducks and chickens. I promise you, they wouldn't last a week. It would require me to really do some building and find them a place, a coop, if you will. But even letting out by day, we have predators that roam those woods by day, and I don't want to have a whole bunch of fox and raccoons and possums and stuff messing with our babies. But let's get back to the question at hand. The note on this, it said to, when I remove the eggs, replace those eggs with the wooden eggs. And that just kind of seems to, that confuses me. Because if you have a hen who's broody, which means that her mind, her heart, her soul, all of her existence is going to be devoted to sitting on top of those eggs until they hatch. And so I go out there and I take away the actual eggs and I replace them with a couple of wooden eggs. So that hen is still going to sit there on top of those eggs from daylight till dark and all through the night. And she's going to starve herself and she's going to dehydrate herself because she's not going to want to move off of them eggs. Anyone who has chickens who knows about a broody hen, you know that it's the most amazing part of motherhood that I've ever seen. And motherhood is amazing. Motherhood in general is just an amazing thing. The way a mom and the devotion that a mom has, any mom, to her children. But in particular, watching these broody hens sit there on top of those eggs and will defend them, y'all, to the death. Trust me, I know, because I had to fight them off when I collect the eggs. And then when I collect the eggs, you can just see the look of despair and the anguish in that little chicken's eyes, and that breaks you. That can really break you down. It doesn't get easier, or maybe it does to some folks, but to me, it's always hard to remove the eggs from a broody chicken. But we don't want to continue to hatch more. We can't continue to hatch more. And so I've been told to just replace those eggs with a wooden egg, which was never going to hatch. But then my question is, wouldn't that broody chicken at some point still realize that she'll sit there for 21 or 23 or 25 or 28 days, whatever it is, and guess what? Her babies are still not hatched because they're wooden eggs. So wouldn't that also make her have the same despair and hurt and pain and anguish that none of her babies hatched? And so it makes me wonder, Jamie, am I doing the right thing by just speeding it up? And once I remove those eggs, as hard as it is for her, at least she knows that, okay, in a couple of days, I'm heartbroken. I'm going to get up and go eat and move on with my life, compared to sitting there and depleting herself for all of those days only for nothing to happen from the wooden eggs. And so that right there is a question that I don't really know the answer to. I can't read your comments as fast as you guys are typing. There's no way I could ever read all of your comments, but boy, you guys are really going at it today. Yeah, it's like walking on eggshells, because for as many people who want to be supportive, um, I would rather you not tell me what an idiot I am, but just tell me a suggestion. And I said that before, especially with Kim's guineas. My dad and Kim have guineas, y'all. You know this. You've seen the videos. And I'm trying to grow grass around the pond pasture. I think we used the supporters, the Facebook supporters, and a couple of months ago, we used money from the supporters with their permission to buy grass. And we had the guy come out and plant grass seed all around our farm so we could get some grass to grow here. Well, we had no idea at the time that we were going to go into a heat wave and a extreme drought. And so none of those seed came up. And at some point, your seeds will just dry up or be eaten away. The good thing is we had a guarantee. So the guy came back and made true on his promise of reseeding once we started getting some rains. And so now we have our pond has been reseeded, our pond pasture, and we want those grass seeds to come up. We have a lot of plans to have that pond as a really beautiful landmark here on our property, but we can't do it with dirt, just dirt everywhere. And for the most part, we've been feeding our geese and our ducks enough over here off the pond to where they've been going to the pond just to cool off and swim, not to go looking for seed. However, that has opened up the door to Kim and my dad, who both raised these god-awful guinea fowl for some, I don't know for what reason, and they let these birds run wild over everyone's yard and everyone's pastures with little regard to things that you're trying to plant, or especially when it comes to seed. And so there's too much space. Don't say go get you a scarecrow, Lester. We've tried the scarecrow. You all know that idea, and that didn't work out for us at all. So I have been trying to run the guineas off the pasture till the seed can germinate and grass begins to grow. So we don't know exactly how that's going to work out. That has been a struggle. It's been something that I've pretty much included in every video for the last week. And you're probably getting sick and tired of seeing all of the Lester with his BB gun or Lester on his side-by-side chasing guineas, screaming and hollering and yelling. And the whole time, Kim just sits there and watches me. She's over in her yard, just watches me, just watching me. And I don't know if she's laughing on the inside or if she just honestly has no clue of what to do to help me. But for everyone that says, oh, them guineas are great, they eat ticks. Well, guys, that's great, but can't they eat ticks on their property? I mean, honestly, you don't let animals, any animal species, you don't bring an animal species onto your property knowing it's going to go into everyone else's yard. As a matter of fact, something kind of funny, if you ever want to Google guineas, this is funny. You can type in, are guineas good birds to own or whatever. And do you know that in there somewhere it's going to say, not if you have close neighbors? It says that. It says, if you ask Google, are guineas a good bird to own? It's going to say, not if you have close neighbors. That's true, Jamie. I'm not making that up.
Yeah.
Because guineas don't stay home. They do not stay home. They wake up every morning and they find the neighbor who they can annoy the most, and they go right over there And so every morning, as soon as the sun comes up, here comes all of my dad's guineas running in a straight line to my pond. And then Kim's guineas, who are over here, they see my dad's guineas, so now they all come running in a straight line. And all these guineas end up making this large mob. Can I just call it a mob? I don't like to use like mob mentality. I know all the social unrest with the mobs and all that, but it's a mob. It is a looting and rioting mob out there in my garden pasture. What's wrong? Jamie laughs because she doesn't know the anguish that I feel.
I laugh because you're like the old guy who's like, get off my lawn.
I'm like the old guy screaming, get off my lawn. I don't want these guineas to eat up $2,000 worth of grass seed, Jamie.
I get it.
That's not fair to anybody. And so for as many folks that think, but wait, Lester, they're going to help you with your ticks. Lester, those guineas are good to run off your snakes. Guys, we will deal with ticks and snakes in our own way. Someone goes, well, at least you don't have Lyme disease. No, I don't have Lyme disease, but there's no winning with some people. Jamie, I can't win with some people. I would like to have grass around my pond. I would like to have grass around my pond. I had talked about how this fall I would like to go out there and redo the entire memorial garden and really beautify that thing, because guys, let's be honest, that garden has grown because we've lost some babies. And now it was sad that when we first built it, we only had a few stones. And now by now we have stones that outline the entire thing. So I want to beautify it and cut back some of the trees and trim back some of the plants that we planted and add some more rock and then redo the stone, paint the fencing. And I want to do it upright and do it nice and do it upright for those babies who we've lost, who that are memorialized there in that little garden. But it really is not fair to have so many guineas running around. Now, hey, I hadn't thought about that. Why don't we gather up the guineas and take them to Longhorn Lester's? Now, that's a great idea. Jamie, we're going to set guinea traps on our property, and we'll take guineas to Longhorn Lester's. But, Jamie, they could help with our ticks. They could help with our tick issues. So that would be a wonderful idea. Take all of the guineas to Longhorn Lester's. And then someone keeps saying that your dad's about to hatch 41 more. Yes. I don't know if you really do feel for me or if this is the funniest thing you've ever had to deal with. And you're probably saying, Lester, there's real drama in our lives. Give us something real. Give us something real. It has to be more to life than guineas. You're right. There's more to life than guineas. Oh, I also got some Dr. Pepper cotton candy. I've not tried that yet because I want to wait until Lex comes this weekend, because he's a cotton candy eating fool. That kid can eat some cotton candy. Someone says, Lester, maybe it's time for you to move. Where am I going to move to? This is my home. This is my home. But I don't think anyone should be run out of their house and home by someone else's pets. So I'm pretty sure that I know what these are, but I do not know the meaning behind them. I do not know the meaning behind them. Let me see if I can open one. And then I might can have Jamie. I don't know if she's busy over there or not. Well, okay. So
Pretty.
I've been gifted several of these. And I'm pretty sure that these are those indigenous people, the Native Americans, the indigenous Americans, whatever you want to call them, Indians, dream catchers. But the thing is, do I really want to catch anything over there, Jamie, as far as this?
It catches your bad, it filters out your bad dreams and lets your good dreams go through.
Oh, I don't have dreams. Oh, I take sleeping pills. I don't dream. I'm fine. I thought it was to capture the Indian dreams. Oh, Lord. Okay, so I don't really necessarily need a dream catcher because I don't dream.
Maybe the animals do.
Maybe the animals do. But from what I understand, we have nothing to be afraid of, y'all. It is true that we have talked to a few of our neighbors. And as a matter of fact, Miss Pat and Mr. Dave are going to come over one day and talk with me about some things that they've experienced on their property, which is adjacent to ours. Mr. Pete, who's on the other side of our property, has already shared with me some of the arrowheads and some things that he has found on his property. And we have, of course, the former owner, Mr. Dub and Miss Sharon, who had all kinds of things that they had found. So it is no secret, there's no surprise that the lands that we are now calling Longhorn Lester, the beautiful, beautiful hills and the river there and all of the amazing property that we're blessed to call home and our animals are calling home, it was inhabited by, I would say, years and years of indigenous people, Native Americans. And there have been strange happenings, and we have been told by a lady who has visions that she has had multiple visions of things that are happening there at Longhorn Lester's, and they all include Native American, indigenous people, and spirits. And so what I noticed in making those videos is that I have made it a pledge. I will never laugh or make a mockery of the lady who has the visions. I will never try to enter some kind of a battle between your God versus their God versus that God versus those God. Guys, I don't do all of that stuff. I don't do all of that stuff. And so I will play ignorant, but I'm also just going to play that I'm just going to be Lester, and I'm going to continue to love that land, and I'm going to continue to take the babies out and let the babies enjoy the land and all of the fruits of Mother Nature. And if we're actually, in fact, walking amongst spirits, then that's great. Because the same way that some would believe you're walking amongst the Holy Spirit or angels, well, those are spirits, right? Those are spirits. So how can you say there's no such thing as spirits, Lester? There's only angels. Well, if an angel is a spirit and if God's presence is around you as a spirit, then I guess that there could be the spirit too. So I don't want to get myself into hot water here, but I've noticed in the comments, a lot of folks are starting to want to argue and fight over what spirits are allowed and what spirits are not allowed. And it's okay to have this spirit, but it's not okay to recognize this spirit. And when I say recognize, I'm not worshiping any idols. I'm not building any idols and worshiping and saying chants and different prayers. I'm just letting you all know that the same way that I can sense the presence of God, it has also been, there's people who can sense the presence of great spirits that also hang out and live there with us along the hills and the rivers of Longhorn Lester's. So it's no need arguing in the comments. Many of you, and like I said, I read comments. I can't read these right now, obviously, because I'm talking to you all. But as I take time to read later, there are just as many people who are 100% on board with the fact that it's possible to share land with those who've passed before us. And so you can say that you've had feelings of being watched. You felt your passed away mother or your grandpa who's passed away. Many, many people say they have sensed or they could hear a voice of someone that they loved who's no longer with us. So I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Lester's not someone who knows about this. Give me 1 second. This is that caller. Here, Jamie. I'm going to let Jamie answer this. So I don't know. And that's not the point of ever wanting to start controversy and fights amongst you all. It would be nice just to have a happy, fun place where we can come, and if there's a going on or a happening around the property, either property, then we just talk about it. We bring it to your attention, and you're more than welcome to feel any way you want to feel. But if there are actually Indian artifacts that everybody has found there on the property, then it's no secret that that land was at one point inhabited by Native Americans or indigenous people. I don't even really know the PC way of saying that. I still call them Indians. Um, but
I see you.
but I don't. I'm not scared of them, and I don't fear them, and they've done nothing mean to me, and so I will gladly take and hang up these beautiful dream catchers,
Okay, I'll be right back.
and I'll be real curious what that does. I don't really know
Where am I putting this?
the myth behind it. Give me 1 second. So it has to go. You know where her pasture is going to be?
Yeah.
Where amongst all those pine trees. Move it far enough inside to where it's not going to be on the fence line. Okay. But but you cannot leave it parked outside because we have to have it inside of the perimeter.
Got it.
Take the side by side.
I will.
Jamie's going to do that for me. Hey, babe.
Yeah.
I need video.
Oh my God.
I need video. We have to have video of everything. We video everything. I would go do that myself, but I'm really enjoying talking to you all. So I'm going to go ahead and do something here. I'm going to put up a couple of your comments. Now, remember, I have no idea what I'm clicking on over here, but I really do want to try to find where my mouse is at and see what it says. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Alyssa says, hey, Nancy Fedderson. Some of us really want to hear this. It's Lester's live. Calm down. All right. So I'm guessing, and I'm just guessing. I haven't been reading the comments, guys. I can't do that. But I'm guessing that Nancy doesn't want to talk about Native American spirits. Nancy probably only wants to talk about animals. And that's fine. Nancy, the animals are all doing great. Carl is the only one that has that little thing underneath his chin. We're going to, our vet would not come out and tranquilize him. She says that she has a horrible fear of overdosing or not doing enough, or even having a bad aim and not getting it in the right spot. And so, as good as our vet has been to help us with all of our babies, she is not interested in helping us tranquilize Carl to have a look-see at whatever's going on under his chin. There's been many who said it's a bot fly, but we've been reading about bot flies, and supposedly that only happens in mammals. Carl is not a mammal. So can it happen in an ostrich? Maybe, maybe not. It's not pussy. It's not, there's nothing seeping out of it. It looks to be dry. I told Jamie, could it be a thorn or something he got stuck in it that we need to pull out? But there's no swelling. It's just that spot of him. He's eating fine. He's playing fine. He's living good, and he's living his very best life. So, I have someone here who says, I'm pretty sure that's a tumor. And so if it is a tumor, that would be horrible. I don't know how it would develop all of a sudden. And if Jamie and I find a way to catch Carl, and if I can hold Carl down long enough to let Jamie look at it, I don't even know if Jamie could be able to identify what's a tumor. And so that would require us taking a specimen in or having it sent in for someone to tell us what it looks like. So I don't know, but can we all just love Carl and be proud of him for being such a great little guy? And we went through the entire regimen of antibiotics, and I don't think it had any effect on him whatsoever. He ate every one of them, and that was a 2-week supply. And I don't think it did a thing. I don't think it did a thing to change the size or the growth of that. It got to a certain size, and it has just stayed there. So I don't really know. Here we go. Nancy says, if you find arrowheads, you can gather them, but do not remove them from the property. Oh, no, I would never do that. I think it's a law that you cannot find arrowheads on properties and move them. I don't know exactly how that works, but I do know that if you find arrowheads on your own property, then you can have those. You do not have to turn in arrowheads to the game warden. You do not have to call your game warden if you find an arrowhead on your property. But if you find an arrowhead on government property, that becomes the property of the government. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. Yeah, it's one of those strange things. And then the last thing that I will say about the whole spirit shaman thing is that we have also been told that it might not be a bad idea to reach out to, I'm so sorry, this is Jamie. Yeah, babe. Between the hay and the flags, what flags? Go inside that little pasture as close as you can to those pine trees. That little those, yeah, get up inside there as far as you can with all that stuff. But you'll see there's stakes in the ground. So go inside of the stakes. Give us room to work around it. All right, thank you. Bye bye. So I probably should have got off the internet and went and done all that for her. We have the guy who has come by to drop off all the supplies, and Jamie hasn't been over there yet. She doesn't know where we're building the fence, but we don't want to end up unloading all of those supplies on the fence line. That would be horrible because we have to move them all, and we don't have the equipment to move all of the supplies. Here's a really big, let's see this. Here we go. Emma says, I believe just by seeing the dream catcher and the crystals that's attached to it, that it looks to be, and that's without an up close view, it's turquoise, which is a popular gemstone that has been long prized in many cultures. It is said to bring luck, peace, and protection. So this is what I'm guessing you're looking at over here, the little turquoise thing here at the top. Can y'all see that? And so I don't really know exactly, but yes, I do know that every time I've gone to the Indian reservations, I've seen a lot of turquoise, a lot of turquoise. And so, the funny thing is, whenever I first got the email from Crystal, who is the lady who has had the visions, a lot of the things that I was reading, I mean, listen, y'all, I'm gonna just say it. I'm as much of a skeptic as anybody when it comes to a lot of stuff. I'm very, very, even though I sometimes pretend to be kind of dumb, I'm actually pretty smart in real life. I'm actually a pretty smart guy. And so I know when I'm being duped most of the time. So in reading Crystal's emails, there were things that she had no idea about that she was telling me that she saw. And so I also know how palm readers can give you generalized things that can apply to anybody. But the thing is, Crystal was telling me things that they were not generalized statements. They were direct facts that had happened right there. And so it got my interest and it took my attention. And those were things that she never would have seen in videos. They were never talked about. But anyway, so you know what? I'm not going to convert and all of a sudden become anything that I'm not already. I'm Lester Morrow, and this is who I am. And some will love me, most will not. I will anger a lot of people through the course of my tenure as a social media influencer. I will run lots of good family people away, which is unfortunate because I'm a good family man, but I'm also real. And like I said, sometimes people don't always want the real. They want the pretend. They want the good stuff, but without the curse words or the occasional, Anyway, so this over here says you're not supposed to touch the center of a dream catcher. Well, God have mighty. Too late. So what have I? So now I've already touched it. So what am I cursed? So now all them dreams are going to come into me? I don't think so. I will just discard of that particular dream catcher. There are still 2 more that are in the packages that I've not opened, and I will not touch the center. Okay, I will not touch the center of those. As a matter of fact, I'll just have someone else come set them up. I will get Jake. I'll say, hey, Jake, you want to come set up some dream catchers? And I will purposely tell him, make sure you hold them in the center. Hold them right in the center when you connect them. And that will be something Jake can do for me. Let him have the bad dreams. I don't want to have them. What's this over here? I would love to come in contact with that lady. Kitty Cat. Kitty Cat says she would love to come in contact with that lady. I don't think that Crystal would want me to share um, her information because she said that as blessed or um, as much as she appreciates the what she calls a gift that she has in being able to see things, and she's helped people. She's also been ridiculed most of her life, and she's been called names, and she's been the center of a lot of controversy when it comes to people's spiritual beliefs because there are some things that people will not compromise on, and there's no gray area. It's either black or white, and there's no gray area for a lot of people in so many areas. You already know this. You know that you should never talk about politics because in politics, there's no gray. It's either this or that. And it comes the same way with religion, the same way with money, the same way with sex. We've all heard this. We've all know these taboos. And I've been guilty of breaking almost all of them because I feel like I'm at a point where I don't have to play the whole PC game anymore. I don't have any sponsorships. I'm only employed by you guys. You guys are my bosses. And whereas I know I will anger some people, I will also help some people along the way. And so that is what my ultimate goal is, to give you a smile, to give you a laugh. But, it's the same way with your friends. You have lifelong friends or family members who they're your people, y'all. You can't change your people. That's just who you have come across and you've connected with. And there will be some things that they will say that will not sit well with you. But you don't end a lifelong friendship with someone because of a personal opinion or something they may say that you don't agree with. You learn to just let some things, what do they call that? Slide. Just let some things slide and you continue on. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't get that. Abigail says, hey, for entertainment purposes only. And that has been my escape. That's been my escape. That's been what I've used to get me out of a lot of sticky situations, y'all. I have used that right there to get me out of a lot of really sticky situations. I find myself sometimes saying things getting a little bit too deep, offending somebody. And so I'm like, hey, I'm just here to make you laugh or smile or cry or feel. I just want you to feel. As a matter of fact, this brings up a really good point. I'm very blessed to have been invited to speak next weekend at the Creators United convention. It's something that's it's going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I'll be traveling, but I'm excited about being able to present because I'm going to say this, and I'm obviously trying to find a tactful way to say this. For as many people as you can offend on any given day, for as many people as you can offend on any given day, you can also touch and bring a smile, or I like to say, shine a light onto thousands and thousands of others. And yes, it is true that I have been guilty of offending a couple of people, but I also bring something to the table that has helped people get through some tough times. And I believe that that's the reason that our page has found success. And so whenever I speak next weekend, I've already begun to think about what I'm going to say. I'm going to have, between 35 and 45 minutes to present. And I'm going to focus on that. That's what I'm going to focus on. I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but I think that what I bring to the table, there's a lot of great video creators out there. There's a lot of really neat and amazing video creators out there. And there's probably a lot of guys that are a lot more successful than what I am. here at I'm a Survivor and Longhorn Lester's. But what I think that a lot of creators can learn from is the same thing that you can learn from as a human being, just as a human being, is learning to understand your feelings and then trying to find a way to get other people to feel what you feel. Because that's one thing that's lacking in life today is that people don't want to feel anymore. They don't want to feel. People don't want to feel. We've turned ourselves very cold to the world. We've turned ourselves very cold to each other. And I will, in the internet, which we all know is inherently evil, it's hard to find a good page where there's good people who really do want good things for you and from you. And so that's what I think I've been able to do in our videos is create personalities amongst our babies, our animals, and tell their stories. And sometimes their stories are those where there's a lot of emotions involved, a lot of emotions involved. And so that's what I'm going to kind of focus. I haven't done any work yet on my presentation, but I have been kind of narrowing it down to how I'm going to utilize my 45 minute presentation. And I'm going to talk a whole lot about emotions and feelings and getting your audience to feel what you feel. Because I do think that there's a lot of folks in the comments right now who come to the page to feel. Because when you watch the local news on TV, you're not feeling anything. They make it to where you don't feel. And when you watch, whatever you watch, whatever internet pages you watch, it's hard to get people to feel anymore. And so that's one thing that the page has done. I don't always say the right things and I don't always do the right things, but that is one gift, I think. What's this over here say? Everyone, so Lori Miller says, everyone is entitled to their own beliefs, and there are so many shades of gray, and a lot of the religion things were made up anyway, especially the ones with the rigid black or white only were entirely made up by men and are not the absolute truth at all, even though they claim it to be, because no one religion is any more valid than any other, and that all religions are equal and not all people have or share the same beliefs. And just because it was made up by men and written down does not make. So I get where she's going with that. And the world lacks empathy. I think that's why so many people are miserable and suffering so badly. We all need to be empathetic and more. So I'm going to try to, there we go. Amen. Amen. So I will talk a little bit on both of those points. I think that it's very hypocritical of any person to have the mindset that you are right and everyone else is wrong. How would you feel if someone was to say that girls are smart and all boys are dumb? Or if you were to say that there was a study done, my friends, listen to me, this is funny. Now, when I was in teacher college, we had this study. We didn't do it. It was put on years and years and years ago. And many of y'all will already know about this, but they were trying to teach teachers the power and the influence of things that they say and how it can control the minds, the young minds. And so it was a controlled experiment where the teacher came in one day and to her pupils, all of her students, she talked about how she had been doing some reading and come to find out that those with brown eyes are so much smarter than those with blue eyes. And she began to talk all about the advantages of having brown eyes over blue eyes. And it was something that it was an experiment. It was a controlled experiment. There were cameras set up all over the classroom to watch the engagement between the students in that particular classroom. And how crazy is it that by the brown-eyed students hearing this, all of a sudden their egos went to here, and those of the blue-eyed kids shot down to there. And everything from their recreational hour, their PE or their recess, to their lunch, to who they hung out with, who they talked with for an entire week had changed based on that little data of information that teacher had told them, which there was no truth to whatsoever. And so then to come find out, as part of the controlled experiment, the teacher came back the next week and says, guys, I made a mistake. I'm so sorry. I made a horrible mistake. It was the blue-eyed kids, the blue-eyed people, those with blue eyes are so much greater than those with brown eyes. And guys, if you could have watched the flip-flop of that classroom, how the roles changed based on what someone heard, and it built them up and it knocked others down. And so that experiment kind of told us a lot as teachers to be very careful what you say. Be very careful what you say, because these young minds are listening to everything, and a lot of the self-esteem that you want them to grow and develop is based on what you tell them and how you make them feel about themselves. And so, in saying so, you all can find that. You can YouTube that experiment, blue eye versus brown eye experiment. I think it was done in the 60s or the 70s. But no, we try, as a page here, I don't want to put down or shame anybody, and I don't want to say, so I just pretty much say, hey, to each their own. There's nothing that you're going to say in the comments that's going to influence and change the way I feel. But you're not. And so it's really not worth arguing over. And especially anyone that would begin to argue and fight in the comments, you're not going to change anyone's mind. That's never happened in the history of the internet. No one's ever changed anybody's mind by arguing in the internet. So that's kind of silly. But anywho, all right, well, listen, it's been my hour and I want to go ahead and get off, and I might even have time to get over there and find out what's going on with Jamie and see if they're getting all the stuff put in the right locations. I want to thank you all for putting up with me, and we will see you on Sunday for Jamie and our live that we do together. And then I'm afraid that next Friday I'll be traveling, so I will not be able to be here. We're having Ben and LE are going to be taking care of Longhorn Leicesters. Ben is going to actually house sit. He's going to go up and stay the weekend and house sit over at Longhorn Leicesters. LE is going to go up both Friday and Saturday and do all of the chores. And so LE has already been trained on what to do and how to do it and what time it has to be done. And I have 100% faith that he'll do that. Over here, we have Brienne and Jake, who are going to take care of and run all of the farm here at I'm a Survivor. So I do know that both of the farms are in great hands. And you guys, if you can just wish me luck on that presentation. You don't want to go on there and make a fool of yourself. And you hope that everyone can learn at least one thing. The goal of the presentation is to try to help folks that are aspiring video creators, give them tidbits of information that can help them along their way. And I know that the fact that I'm a Survivor started off the way that we did, but has been able to grow into 7 additional YouTube and Facebook pages, to where the creators, be it Brienne or Jake or LE or Jamie or my dad or Sister Kim, or even the other one of Longhorn Leicesters, they're all doing very well, and the pages are growing. They have a very loyal audience. And so we want to thank you guys that are staying true to us, even despite our many flaws, because we make a lot of them. And I guess I've always kind of said this, and I've thought this about people. Whenever I've had conflict with somebody at work or even in real life, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, just to know that maybe it was a bad day. And Lester does have bad days. I have bad days, and I say things that I don't mean, and I do things that I don't mean to hurt people with, and I try to find the right way to go about my life. I try to let my light shine, and for those that need it. But there will be days along the way where I'm not myself. But I appreciate you trying to come back the next day to catch me in a better mood or in a better moment. If you see a video that doesn't fit your fancy, it's not your kind of video. It's not one that touched you. It's not one that you like the style or the format. Just know that there'll be another one tomorrow, and we'll hope to make everything right in that one. And then lastly, I would just hope that you could learn to accept each other for their differences and just know what a boring world it would be if we were all the same. A wonderful lady wrote me a story, a message, an email. She comes from a small island where it is a melting pot of so many different religions and ethnic groups. And she goes, her small island is torn with civil war, and there are people who are killing other people for political purposes and for religious purposes and for just ethnical differences. And I thought to myself, how blessed we are to live in a free world. For those of you in Australia, those in the UK, and of course those here in the States. I can't speak for all of the world because I don't know all of the world. But I do know that we are three very amazing countries that are not perfect. We are by far not perfect. But I do think we have people who work in our governments that try to help and make us better and try to keep us free from all of that kind of stuff that goes on in these smaller, underdeveloped countries. And so we're so blessed for being who we are. And I'm sorry, the Canadians. God help me if I left out anybody. Could I just say us North Americans? Guys, I'm so sorry. There's tons of Canadians, and that was a complete lack of disrespect that I did not mention you in that. Yes, Canadians, by all means. Our governments are not perfect, but you know what? I do think that our principles are based on what's good and what's right. And Denmark, oh, wait, is Denmark, okay, I'm going to be in trouble no matter what. South Africa, Holland, oh my God, someone says I just blocked you. I am so very sorry. Yes, the Netherlands, okay, so there's a lot of really neat things happening around the world, y'all. There's a lot of neat things happening around the world. And I know that our governments are trying to keep us and find ways to make us safer. And hey, someone says, what about Tennessee? Okay, Tennessee. I think you made your point. Guys, we love you very much. Thank you for being so loving to us and our families. And Jamie and I will see you guys on Sunday. All right. I just put my tongue in my mouth. Holland, Switzerland. Jamie, I am in so much trouble with everybody around the world. Oh, this may not end well, Jamie.